Right, this landscape this time then, and I'm going to mark it off the same, my quarters, halves and eighths, just so I know where things are going. The scale is slightly different because the paper's slightly squarer. I couldn't go any larger, I wanted to, but for the board, I've got a large enough drawing board for larger paper. I don't do many this size. Right then, here we go. So we've got this paper marked with this, and that hill there comes in here. I'm just going to discuss how I do the drawing as well. Bottom of this hill is just about on line with halfway here, and finishes about an eighth of the way in, so 1/4 eighth, so about here. So we've got this hill coming down, lovely shape, all the way, a nice curve to about there. This base plane here is about 1/3, that's just under 1/3. If I go into thirds there, I know it's going to be in between that and a half, somewhere here. That's the base plane going on there. Nice composition. Coming from here, there's a gentle hill that comes down, and the centre of the picture is about here as well, so not far out on that. And let's look at this here, that beautiful line there that comes down, just gently curls all the way into here, and we've got a plane coming in there. This mountain comes behind, soft clouds and things. We did this recently with watercolour. Now we're going to see how to do these softer clouds with pastel here. Now we're going to get this mountain, and that one, it's almost halfway up here. So if I come across there, I shouldn't be far off there. Where does it finish here? Well, we've got to come up from here, haven't we, anyway? So if I come up, that's my angle there. Right, there's our basic structure. Again, on the quarter here, just above it, comes down where these flowers come. Where do they come from? Here on the quarter mark there. So you can see how I'm doing the drawing, just so I'm working it out according to the quarters. And only roughly, we're not going to be exact, you don't need to be photographic with it. Round behind. Now I've got to find these. There's this lovely curve going on here I want to find. You can see we've almost got our composition now. Things are going to go. Traditional way of working then, just working out our midtones, our light, drawing on here, and we're going to work up the underpainting by rubbing, scrubbing, blocking and then blending, and then we work the fresh colour on top finally without touching it further so as not to destroy it, keep it nice and bright and clean. And that will be the traditional way of blocking and blending. Right, those bunch of flowers come down literally below that lump there, so down here. And then the actual composition of the clouds in the sky, which are rather nice on this one. I want to really push the colours on this when I come to it. We'll just work out where these clouds are coming for the moment. Just so I know where my colours are going to go. I'll work this in very quickly. I mean, I'm working now as quickly as I would if I was actually doing the landscape on plein air. There we go, that's ready to draw. As we go. So let's first of all take a close look at this, which is a canson paper, and just what happens when we blend these pastels before we actually start. So just watching this then, Beverly, we're going to use a deeper pastel first. Now this is the fresh pastel. You can see how lovely and bright that is. But if I rub it, it dulls down immediately. Okay. We can leave the paper glowing through like that.
So you've got an undercolour. Now this is useful if you're doing a technique like constables where you want the browns to show through. So for with pastel, that all papers change colour, even the best of them, will eventually go lighter with light. So I prefer to use either paint underneath or rub pastel in to give my colour. So that's the first point. Right, so we've rubbed that colour in there. If we put the same colour over the top, you can see how it goes brighter, slightly brighter in that area. And the same if we're using brighter colours over that. If I put a brighter colour into that, then it's nice and bright and clean. If I blend it, it kills it immediately. So I would want to come back over that. Now scumbling is where we just bring the pastel over the surface, letting the undercolour glow through. So that way we can get a colour that won't go brighter later and bleach out. We can let the pastel glow through and hopefully the pastels will remain. We have actually tested even these Unison pastels, and in bright sunlight even they fade slightly. So you don't want to have pictures in bright sunlight, but that's scumbling. Feathering is short strokes like this, and you can cross hatch by cross feathering across. So we've got several techniques we're going to use there with the texturing, the same way as dots and dashes. So if I wanted to have clean pure pastel over this and my final coats of leaves, then you can see how brightly I can go on top by clean colour at the end, and there you've got the blocking and the blending and the finishing coats over the top, and that's what we're just about to do. So that's your first basics in the blocking and blending method. The first thing I've got to do is get Beverly to catch up with me and just get her basic drawing done. We've taken a look at the earlier part of this video already, and I've shown her how we can use the quarters and eighths on the paper here to start off finding where things come. So we've got the halfway point here, and then that mountain comes down to that halfway point there. So you've got your pastels here, your photograph there, and you've got your drawing. There's plenty of drawing there. That's just ready to make a start. It's only a few minutes, so I already see that your abilities are quite good, and I think you'll manage to keep up with me. Unfortunately, we've got the rain in the background again, which I know one of my students actually likes, but some of you might find it a bit of a nuisance. But I don't want to put radio mics and everything up today. So usually I start with the horizon area. The reason I do that, Beverly, is because the horizon is usually the mid-tones. I'm going to work up all of my mid-tones here and go downwards to the darks. Right, that's my blocking and blending just done in that bit. I'm going to carry on down and start blocking in the blues and so on down here. And I'm just building up these by blending one to another. Yeah, you're blending where you need. I mean, if you feel that something is right, you leave it alone, but if it's not quite, then you just blend it in by blending the scumble in a fraction. Now, what I was saying about not going too dark, because we're going to go darker, lighter onto it, if I now come back with some lighter creams, I actually take some very light cream and start to put that in with these little lights shining around the edges of them. And lighter still, as I say, I come back to that very light, almost white. Are you ready now? Ready for the mountain?
I think so.
Look at that green dust to the sky here, you see. I mean, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pulling out those turquoises. Yeah. Right down into here.
Okay, let's see.
Right, then into that, I can start to this lovely soft blue. Again, I can do my shading behind there as well when I'm at it. Now you see how I can go quite hard edged. If that's the soft, now putting fresh pastel on, I can come in with these lovely deep darks. I can just feather and blend softly, or I can go, so I can blend it like that, or I can come in harder like that. And blocking and then blending in to give my underpainting. The dominant colour I think here for me is this deeper mid green. Is rather fun.
That was a getting to learn.
You're
getting
coming
to
on.
know. I also talk to myself
That's good.
while I work.
Yeah, well, I do all the time. I do in life actually. Yeah. I get a better conversation that way normally as well. As I say, you can't see wood for trees, but once you've got the blocking and blending done, you can start to see how your colours really are. And we can get the feeling of a lot of texture and detail in the foreground here by, again, the blocking and blending method. It's a technique that I use quite a bit with acrylics as well, where I put dark blocks of background in and start to texture up. Then for the final lighter colours we have to really twist and push the pastel to get pure colour achieved. It's these last highlights that just finish things off now, because that's what we're working on now. Well, for me, I'm about there on that one, I think. Let's see how you're doing. And there we are, the effects of light, clouds, into the sky.
I was trying to dampen down these with the little blue.
Yeah,
And
a lovely sky. Well, there we are. Beverly's just finishing off hers now, and I think I've gone as far as I'm going to go with this one. So we'll just capture Beverly in a moment with hers. She's done really well. And then, so only a couple of hours work, so it shows how rapid this technique is. We're going to move on to doing a big acrylic in the rollers. Beverly's finished that, and for a first go at that method, very good, beautiful colours, nice light. I hope she's happy. Are you happy, Beverly?
yes, yes, I'm very pleased with it.
Good. Well, we'll move on then.
Sorry.
Well done.
It's
That's
very
the first
good.
one here, and it's
Yeah.
only taken us a couple of hours.